Yo, what's going on with y'all boys, man? Welcome back to another video. And if you're new here, welcome. Do not be surprised if this team ends up becoming a major contender and giving a lot of teams problems. You know what I'm saying? Now, this may be the next Indiana Pacers or the next major team to make a run that nobody expected. You know what I'm saying? And that team is the Toronto Raptors. Now, I know they flying under the radar. They was flying under the radar all season pretty much. You know what I'm saying? But after this little postseason, I can definitely see them causing problems. Like I said, the Toronto Raptors, they're going to be a major problem just because they have the size and they're able to defend. The biggest thing that I think they're missing is a bench, depth. I think that'll really be able to take them over the top, and maybe a traditional point guard or a true point guard. And there's a lot of, names floating around, you know what I'm saying, in this offseason, free agency, or just trade requests. So if they can make a move for somebody like Ja Morant, you know what I'm saying, get somebody within that culture, I definitely see them even making a bigger jump, you know what I'm saying, to maybe one of the best teams in the league. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be surprised if they make a leap like Detroit made. You know what I'm saying? Going from worst to first in 3 years. You know what I'm saying? I could definitely see Toronto making that type of jump, mainly because you have Scotty Barnes, who is ultimately one of the best defenders in the league, who can run the point, can run the three, can pretty much play every position. You know what I'm saying? Guard every position, 6'9", can handle the ball, a force to stop in transition. He can shoot, dribble, you know what I'm saying, pass, one of the best passers in the league in my opinion. He could just do everything. If you have a smaller team, he can cause matchup problems. He's just one of those gadget type of players that can pretty much affect the game in any way. Their defensive intensity is some of the best in the league. Them basically taking your best player, they can take your best player out of the game. They can take your offense completely out of their rhythm, and they might not even look like the same team. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I'm a Cavs fan, so I witnessed this firsthand. The Raptors basically forcing us to be a completely different team. But also, they're so good in transition that when they're one of those teams where you can't turn the ball over against them because they want to capitalize. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, their defensive intensity, they have some of the best defensive intensity and pressure in the league, to where they force your offense to play, more up, and it takes your offense out of their rhythm, which can cause turnovers, which feeds into what they like to do, which is run in transition. And that's also another thing that I feel like if they can get better in the half court setting, which is why I think that having I wouldn't say a traditional point guard because there's not many of those, but having just, a point guard that having a playmaking point guard can definitely help them out in the half court. You know what I'm saying? With whether it's with shot creating or just getting other people open, and that's why I think Ja Morant, who's one of the bigger names in this year's offseason, can help, because he can create shots on his own. He can help with them in transition because he has a similar play style to what the Raptors like to do. I feel like he's one of the perfect fits when it comes to that. It doesn't have to be a big name like Ja Morant, but I think having a point guard that has the ability to create on his own, or has the ability to bring pressure and get other people open, is what I think they're missing. You know what I'm saying? That, and which can help in all aspects of the game, but also taking some of the pressure off of Scotty Barnes to have to continuously playmate, take the ball out of his hands a little bit, and have an impact on the game in other ways. It can also add versatility to their lineups. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're not depending on Scotty Barnes to have to playmate all the time. Because you saw that in the playoffs a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, down the stretch, early in games or whatnot, Scotty Barnes was pretty much their only playmaker. You know what I'm saying? Especially when Brandon Ingram went out with an injury, the Raptors struggled. you know what I'm saying, offensively. And I think that's partly because, you know, Brandon Ingram can help our offense in the half court because he can create his shot on his own. He can, you know, he can bring attention towards him and open up the game for everybody else. That's what I mean when I say it doesn't necessarily have to be a traditional point guard. You know what I'm saying? It could just be a point guard that just attracts attention towards him, and he can open up the game for everybody else, which I feel like is part of playmaking. You know what I'm saying? I know the word playmaking, people automatically think of players like Chris Paul or Steve Nash or Jason Kidd or Magic Johnson, but I feel like playmaking is more than just, you know, throwing no-look passes and bounce passes and all that. Playmaking could also be somebody just attracting attention towards them and it open up the game for everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And getting everybody else open and just making the game easier for the players around them. You know what I'm saying? Somebody like Shea, for example, is a playmaker. You know, he might not be the traditional, you know, point guard, in which he is just a guard, but he's not the traditional point guard of I'm about to get 15 assists, you know what I'm saying, off a straight pick and roll and drop passes and just no look passes behind the back. No, like he's a playmaker in his own way. You know what I'm saying? Being able to attract attention and kick it out, collapse the defense and kick it out. But that's here nor there. But yeah, Brandon Ingram, I feel like he was that missing piece in that series of really opening up the game for everybody else and just making the offense more efficient. But that's also why I think that if Scottie Barnes is able to develop, you know, more of a jump shot, which I think is going to come along, he'll cause even more problems. You know what I'm saying? To the point where we might have to start having discussions of him, you know, being one of the best players in the league. You know what I'm saying? If he's able to develop a consistent jump shot. You know what I'm saying? Because he can do everything else. Literally. One of the best two-way players, has a post game, all that. The only thing he's missing is a consistent jumper. And it'll borderline make him unstoppable, you know, because of just how much of a matchup problem he is. And when you play a team like the Raptors, you have to construct your lineup a certain way. You can't play a traditional lineup where you have a 6'3" point guard and a 6'2" shooting guard, or you know what I'm saying, similar to what, you know, what the Cavs were doing. You know what I'm saying, when they had James Harden and Donovan Mitchell, you know, in the backcourt together. You know, you saw them struggle defensively because Scottie Barnes is able to rise up over any and every small guard in the league, or pretty much almost any guard in the league. Or even if you do send a double team, he's a good enough playmaker and passer to get the ball to where it needs to be. You know, he's just such of a matchup problem. It just opens up the game for everybody. If you're a smaller team, he can pretty much get to the paint at will, at least the mid-range. And to that point, that's going to force the bigs up. That's going to force the defense up to have to, you know, come up. And that's just going to open up the game. Backdoor cuts, you know, backdoor lobs and stuff like that. It's just going to add more of an element to their offense. Even if he does get a head full of steam and driving down the lane, it ain't too many players in the league that's going to stop that, you know. So ultimately, that's why I think that if they can get a bench, a playmaking point guard, and just help in the half court, I think this team could really be a contender. You know what I'm saying? Competing with the best though. But yeah, that's all I got for this video. I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Do those 3 things for me. Yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.